Good morning, sir.
Yeah, good morning, Rathod. How are you?
Fine, sir. How about you, sir?
Fine, fine. Good.
Good morning, sir.
Good morning, sir.
Yeah, good morning. Good morning.
Good morning, everyone. Today we have the immense pleasure of having with us Dr. D. Tammiraju. Sir is Principal Scientist, Education System Management Division, ICAR National Academy of Agriculture, Research Management, Rajendra Nagar, Hyderabad. And the topic chosen for deliberation is online education system as innovative extension strategy. Sir, you are audible as well as visible. And let's start the slideshow and continue.
Yeah. Thank you, Mr. Majid. Uh, Good morning to all my friends. And indeed, it's a pleasure for me to share some of my experiences with reference to online education system. Before I start my presentation, I immensely thank the organizers for giving me this opportunity. So I'll go ahead with my presentation. I think my slide is visible and I'm audible, right?
Yes, yes, perfect, perfect.
Yeah, great. Thank you. Well, friends, the topic which I have chosen for this, forenoon's session is online education system as an innovative extension strategy. In fact, nowadays we are much hearing about different perspectives of online education and with special reference to the COVID also. So I think it is the right time to think about and talk about this online education. It's not that the formal education, informal, vocational, whatever the education, whatever you say, but the context is there is a significant change over the few decades with reference to information technology, and it pervaded all walks of life, including agriculture, whatever the sector you take. And this online education or use of digital technology or digitalization, what are maybe the synonyms? These are all very, very important in the, especially in the pandemic area, arena where we have seen many online classes are being held, and suddenly there is a boom in different applications, and people started using these mobile platforms or online platforms, or what many things are happening around. So probably we need to understand and how best we can adapt these things into our own situation, maybe in education, extension activities, or as a professional, whatever it may be. And of course, it's not that simple when you compare with the face-to-face type of instruction or the face-to-face type of what you call the training. There are quite inherent issues are there that also we'll see what is to be done and how best we can improvise the ultimate goal of learning. The only issue is how best we can integrate adopt the technology into the education. That is one thing. And you are all aware about the new education policy. The national education policy has come into picture, and it is more focusing on different perspectives, especially even the digital technologies and all those things, with the main intention of improving the quality of education and the standards as well. Coming to the extension system, there is a great need for revamping the extension system, for especially with if you talk about the sustainable developmental goals. We have been doing extension activities or extension research or education, whatever it may be, for so many decades. And over time, the changes are happening around, in terms of approaches, methods, and methodologies. And when you talk about this sustainable development goal number 4, that is more focusing on quality education. Quality education in terms of the relevance to the context, relevance to the situation, and relevant to the society, and relevance to the needs of the people, especially the learners. Maybe your farmers, maybe your students, maybe your the entrepreneurs, whoever it may be. So there is a great need to address the formal and informal education system, and duly considering the needs of the actors and the stakeholders in the entire chain of development. For that, we can broadly have all these two systems, maybe the education system and extension system as such. What I feel is that this quality of education has to be tackled at all the 3 levels. Maybe at the faculty level, that is the improvement of the competencies of the faculty of state agriculture universities, and quality of education with reference to the students, maybe undergraduate, postgraduate, or PhD programs, or even at the diploma level. And at the farmers level, at the grassroots level, apart from the farmers, there are several organizations, or I mean, what do you call, the NGOs are playing a role, public and private enterprises, commercial agents, groups, SSGs, RMGs. There are several other people are also taking part in the revamping of the extension system. So it is not a, we have to take all these actors into the consideration when we talk about the online education. So with this background, I think I'll be discussing some of those important issues. One is the online learning, digital education initiatives, e-learning MOOCs, and online education environment. These are all the four important pillars which I would like to discuss and share my experiences, because I've been doing this information communication technology related training programs, and not only that, even research also for the past several years. So I thought it would be of interest to my learners here. So my very objective of this session is to impress upon all my learners to realize the potentials of the online education and how best we can use in our given situation. That is what I'm trying to focus more on. If you look at the transformation of the education system, earlier we used to have face-to-face type of education, maybe in the classroom situation, or maybe a physical in-person training at your KVK, at your university, at your training center, and all those things. But now, suddenly, since last year, we are asked to shift to online education, which is unprecedented, and we are not even prepared to do that. That is the reason there is a need to understand what are the different perspectives or approaches when you are transformation from face-to-face to online education. Now, for example, we have to focus more on what you call the blended approach, self-directed or non-formal learning. Initially, in a given typical classroom situation, a teacher will be there, a student will be there, and interaction happens. But now, in this case of situation, especially in the online education, we need to have self-directed learning, self-paced learning, and what you call the program learning. That sort of approach is required. That means the onus lies more on the individual learner rather than the teacher here. And you all agree with me that learning is active. That means the student has to play an important role, or the farmer has to play an important role in the process of learning rather than the teacher. That is what the entire context is understood like. And in the formal education, it is not a single isolation alone is going to help you. Collaborative approaches also required. For example, you can have a group studies or the assignments, and that sort of things are also going to enhance the quality of education in general. And now there are several means and ways which are added to the education system, especially with reference to the educational resources, multimedia, videos, and animations. You can see that there are several resources are available nowadays, which really going to add value to the learning environment of our students or the faculty or even the farmers. With reference to the formal education system, there is a need for increased student control in terms of learning, the choice, and independence. Now, if you look at the national education policy also, a new concept has been introduced like choice-based credit system. So the choice is given to the students or the degree holder so that they can pursue their own choices. That sort of flexibility is going to come near future. It is not like, the structured, very formal curriculum. And another key feature is anywhere, anytime, any size learning. That is the order of the day. It is need not be, you can sit at your home, at your office, at your whatever the place, and then start learning at your own convenience. It's not like, the structured formal learning from 10 to 5, that sort of things are there. And the assessment also is being changed now. Now we are also working on how best we can bring in the new assessment systems or methods, especially with reference to online education, because offline means already we had a couple of the prevailing systems which really test the the efficiency of the learners. So these are all the different approaches. If you are really serious about taking online education as one of the strategy, probably these are all the things we have to keep in mind when you are talking about the education for great quality and relevance. In this case, we have done some studies also. For example, what is the impact of this digital education as a special reference to pedagogy and curriculum? If you look at the two important things whose weighted means are about 4.1, what it says is teaching with technology contributed for teaching improvement. So teaching with technology. So the traditional systems, of course, I'm not denying that, I'm not saying that they should be dispensed, but we need to integrate the technology into the teaching so that we can effectively manage the teaching learning situation. And if you look at the other point here, like teaching skills improved to digital learning. Fortunately or unfortunately, especially the faculty of our agriculture universities, they're not trained on the pedagogy or the foundations of teaching learning process. Straight away, we complete what you call the master's degree or the doctoral degree and straight away join as assistant professor or a scientist or so on. But the entire paradigm is something different with reference to the education, and this sort of orientation is really lacking. And that is the reason we started working on what you call imparting the quality and the teaching competencies through different online mechanisms. That I'll be, sharing in a couple of minutes. I hope you are following me, or if you have any issues, kindly stop me also, no problem. Is it fine?
Fine, sir.
Yeah. If any query or doubt or anything, you can stop me, no problem. Right? Thank you.
Sir, actually, if
Yeah.
there are any queries, they will ask, or else actually we have some session at the end also for discussions.
Okay, fine. Right.
So all the questions we can take up at the end.
Right. Thank you.
Okay. Thank you, sir.
Coming to the another study also, we try to understand whether this online education with special reference to MOOC, whether it is a strategy for capacity building or not. So MOOC is prospective and effective learning hub. That's what we could learn from the participants of our MOOC courses and other trainees, which we trained over a period of time. And another thing is, there is a significant change in the knowledge, skill, and attitude through technology enhanced learning. What else we require? Actually, as a teacher, as a trainer, as a faculty, we always try to improve the behavioral perspective of our learners, either in the terms of knowledge, skill, or attitude. So if the technology could able to improvise these things, if you're able to bring in changes in terms of these three important knowledge and skill attitude domains, of cognitive domains, probably that is going to add value to us, and that is the reason we have to integrate these approaches in our regular sessions also, in regular classes or the training sessions. And if you look at this slide also, we have taken the opinion of some of our trainees to what extent they are able to use these resources. And majority, about 45 to 47% are using either ebooks, e-courses, social media, MOOC is there, open education resources, LMS like learning management systems, video lessons, and animated presentations. So either the faculty or the students are ready to use those things. So if they are able to use these e-resources, probably as a trainer, as a teacher, it is our role to develop these resources and try to integrate it our technology or in education. Probably that is going to add value when you are really contemplating to improve the knowledge, skills, and attitude of your learner. So if you look at these things, and excellency is about 20 to 39% have said, they are able to use all these e-resources. So my very objective of presenting this information is to impress upon you people so that you can really change your mindset and try to adapt all this digital content and digital practices rather in your day-to-day activities. Yeah, probably I thought I could see some of my colleagues also from Extension System, probably they, and other faculty and students are also there in this fora. Probably this is all the initiatives are taken by the what you call the either amateur or ICR also with reference to the education perspective. For example, SWAYAM is there, probably you are aware also, study webs of active learning for young aspiring minds. And many courses are available on this portal, and including agriculture and allied sciences. Probably some of those courses which you really pick up and try to develop your skill sets, because there is a limitation of the curriculum. curriculum has a prescribed flexibility, and we cannot go beyond the fixed prescribed syllabus and courses. So if you want to have more skill sets, probably these are all the platforms where we can really harness our skill sets, because now the market is not like, they require more of, the competencies and smart work. Probably our students learn such as those smart skills through use of these online education initiatives. For example, your Swayam is there, Swayam Prabha is there, and National Digital Libraries. So many resources are available, and you can really access and get the content. So earlier when we are studying, and during 89, 88, and we used to go to library and sit hours of together to collect the literature. Now the days have gone. You can simply, with a click of a button, you get all the information. So that sort of changes are happening, and really you are blessed with this technology, and probably we should use all those technologies which are really available, and with a click of mouse. E-Shod Sindhu is there, virtual labs are there, E-Entra, E-Acharya, FASE, that is what you call the open access in softwares, Shodh Ganga, OLabs, all those things. Yes, I'm putting all those things in front of you so that you will pick up the required ones when you're really, feel to have more knowledge beyond your, what you call the prescribed the system. And Talk to a Teacher program is there, eKalpa is there, and Global Initiative Academic Networks. That is another IIT Kharagpur initiatives. DigiLockers are there. But this is more interested, even I'm particular about the researchers. Probably are all aware about Vidwan. Otherwise, you can see this Vidwan also. I'll just click this video, just see. Yeah, I think there is some problem. Okay. Yeah. Sorry for the interruption. I'll stop. I'll reshare once again. Is it visible?
Yes, yes.
Hello. Yeah, my slides are visible. Fine. So I think there is some issue with this one. Probably otherwise, I request all of you to visit this, what you call Vidwan. This is one of the initiatives of MHRD, where you can really see the experts database and the National Researcher Network. And if you take agriculture itself, there are about 6,000 agriculture scientists, and the researchers are there on the that platform. This is really help you to market yourself and come across with the different what you call the experts, and try to collaborate in your own fields of this is the platform. You can see really. Just see, I'll just play for a couple of seconds.
I think sir got disconnected. Just a second. Let him join back. Hello, Dr. Prakash Kumar.
Yes, sir.
Sir, I tried to call him. Can you call him again and say that you are disconnected? It's not the same.
Yeah, his number is not reachable. Sorry, he's busy.
I tried to call him. I was calling him.
Yeah.
Can you call him again?
Yeah, I will try. I'm calling. Hello. Yeah, Majid sir, actually he's not picking the call.
Yeah.
So I'm just sending a message also.
Okay.
So this is just like by the time actually he joins, I think we will have to like engage, try to go ahead with this. Because as we all know, this online education system is a very important aspect nowadays, because as an it's an innovative strategy, and because he has worked, Dr. Tamiraju has really worked on this particular area. He was initially the professor in Veterinary College, Hyderabad, in the Department of Veterinary and Animal Husbandry Extension, and then actually he moved to actually to ICR system, actually as a principal scientist in NARM Hyderabad, and they are basically dealing with online education systems and actually development of different platforms. So we have to, and that's what actually, that is the experience actually he has in that area. I'm just trying to again call back.
Sir, no audio, no video.
As I have mentioned in the chat itself, our resource person got disconnected. Please have patience and please bear with us. We're trying to connect him back.
Majid sir. Majid sir.
जी बोलिए sir.
Actually, I called him for his personal number as well as office number, and just now I told one of his other staff actually to just inform him. And let us see. Actually, hope he will join soon.
Okay, okay.
Okay. So
We'll
meanwhile,
wait few more minutes.
yeah.
You can continue. You can continue, sir.
Yeah, and anyways, I was talking about this online education system. So nowadays, we know that during this times of COVID-19, we have actually seen that lot many farmers actually are also dependent on this online systems. And nowadays, actually, we are seeing. But in fact, any type of online education system we see, because although we are well connected now, but we see actually lot many issues like this. So we are trying to have a resource person, but still actually we have got some issues. So these are all actually field level basic points actually which we need to address. End of the day, what we have to do is about the infrastructure development, because once we have a good infrastructure facilities, all these things will be well established and things will be on right track. So that is what is the most important thing. And we all know that apart from this online education system, even nowadays actually we are talking about different extension strategies through online mode, because we are seeing actually even the online systems are all helpful for us even in the marketing system. And most of us are able to actually sell our products through online system. And that is actually whenever we have some commodities, we have seen that during the COVID-19, so majority of the commodities are being even sold through the groups, like you have a WhatsApp group or you have actually different social media platforms. So that is how actually we are in a loop with the online system, and actually we are able to actually try this out. But when it comes to the education system, in education system actually, as NARM is an well established institution actually, which is doing all different types of online education based systems, and we should note that actually all these things are actually possible once we have a good facilities. Because whenever we take even another example, nowadays actually there are a good increase in the number of actually mobile users, increase in the number of internet users, and we also have increase in the number of users with regards to this. Because nowadays we are also seeing lot many rural people using a good mobile, wherein they have a facilities like WhatsApp and different social media platforms. So that is what is important. And nowadays during this times of COVID-19, we have seen that majority of the students are also actually able to join, but in fact there are some issues. Most of our classes have become online, most of our actually examinations have become online, and nowadays most of the training programs have also become online. But this is what is important for all of us, that whatever the online systems we develop, because end of the day we should see that we have got a good infrastructure facilities. So, and apart from this, we are also seeing that online system, or even the ICT tools, or I can say even the digital media, is basically a part and parcel of our routine life, even in our education system, even in our farm management systems. Because we talk about the online systems even in farm management, because in agriculture sector, and we are also talking about precision farming, we are also talking about precision in agriculture, in dairy, in horticulture, and many other fields. So, and that is why we should see that we can address all these issues with the basic components of our online education system. So how we need to do this is all an important thing, and that is why actually most of our lectures are actually revolving around the digital media. Not all, but at least few of them are revolving around digital media, looking at the situation that digital is very important for all of us. And apart from this, we have also tried to know how to link up these online tools with the other activities. And as I already have mentioned, apart from this online education system, we have got few more lectures related to online. Like we have Dr. Sarvanand Raj from Manage Hyderabad, who will be presenting on digital media. And then actually we also have got another lecture by Dr. Jagdishwari, so from Veterinary College, Bangalore. So she will be dealing with the importance of mobile applications. So how are we going to use the mobile applications, and how are we going to have basics of mobile applications? Because nowadays even mobile application has also become an important parcel of our life. Because even in our education system, we have seen lot many websites being developed. We are also seeing lot many apps being developed for the education system. Because from our LKG, UKG, we see actually lot many apps, lot many websites being developed basically for this purpose. And that is why we have to see that all these things are actually important. But end of the day, although we are talking about online system, we should see that there is at least some way that we need to establish a good infrastructure, so that we don't face such kind of problems what actually we are facing now. So although I don't know actually what is still happening, because I called him 2-3 times, but still he is not able to connect himself. And apart from this, we also will be discussing about different aspects actually in our lectures. And in the afternoon actually we had actually another lecture by Dr. Shaji Fund from Manage, but due to some other commitments, actually we had to take up a lecture by Dr. Sasidhar. So as I am already pointing out, that we have actually good number of social media users, we have good number of tools like telecenters. We have actually, they are all actually part of ICT, which again you will be discussing. We have actually village information centers, we have rural telecenters, we have mobile telephony, which actually people are using in different platforms and forums. Then we have information kiosks, because a kiosk is also another important tool, because kiosks we see in almost all parts of life. Like ATM is just another example of a kiosk. In the same way, actually, we have kiosks in the railway stations, we have kiosks in the banks, in different forums. And kiosks even actually are being established at different veterinary hospitals, wherein actually whenever the animal is being presented to the hospital and veterinary officer is busy, and then actually the farmers are just going through the kiosk and trying to refer different materials. So that will really give them a good opportunity basically, and that is how actually they are doing it. And apart from that, we also have different social media networks like Facebook, we have WhatsApp, we have Telegram nowadays, and that way actually we have then we also have TV, that is a television we all know, and then we have radio. Apart from radio, actually nowadays we have got an modified version actually where people will be talking about. There is an example of community radio. So we have one lecture actually from Pantanagar. So Dr. Kashyap, so he is the dean of agriculture college over there, and he will be delivering his experiences with community radio, because they have worked very nicely in that particular area, and actually he'll be talking about community radio. And apart from this, as I already mentioned, that we have lot many mobile applications which are being done through mobile applications. We are able to I'm sure actually majority of the KVKs are actually working on this area by maybe sending some SMSs, sending some messages, sending some online videos to their farmers or actually to their professionals, so that they can be well versed, and our farmers are getting these informations in their fingertips. And this is how actually we are able to manage through this online media. But we should also see that these are all through different advisory services. And apart from that, we also have different, like I already mentioned, that we have a lot increasing number of internet users. Actually, if I take again the statistics, we should see that from 2015 to 2022, if I even consider, so there is actually an increase. It is, if I say in terms of millions, so there is almost 480 million users nowadays in internet. But in 2015, it was just around 260 million. So what is important is we have almost got from 260 million in 2015 to almost 480. So I can say there is almost an increase of 70 to 80% of the internet users. So that is how, that's the beauty of internet, and that's the beauty of our online system. But end of the day, actually, we have, again, you should understand that there are a lot many issues wherein actually we are able to nowadays we are seeing through online education, because there are even online education systems, online extension systems, wherein many good number of farmers are having their own like platforms, like I say Facebook groups, they have their WhatsApp groups. So if you take some examples, like the examples can be, they are trying to promote their organic agriculture, they are trying to promote maybe some examples like Turmeric Farmers Association, Dairy Farmers Association. So, and there are veterinary officers, there are agriculture officers, they're all trying to have certain options with this, and they are actually trying to have these ICT tools. Apart from this, we also have been seeing actually a lot many discussions, as he was pointing out about some of the websites like Vidwan, where it is actually mentioned for researchers, where in those there are many discussion forums. Actually, those scientists as well as actually the professionals can get into those discussions, and ultimately they are able to answer many of the queries which are being raised by the students or which are being raised by the other fellow colleagues. And students actually who are sitting even in their home nowadays are able to listen to a lecture actually which is being delivered maybe from some other even foreign countries. So, and apart from that, even we have with education, we have actually the WhatsApp scenarios, we have actually WhatsApp we know actually about WhatsApp, we know about even the YouTube, and all these things are ultimately being used even in online education system. And let me also say that it is along with education, this online system is also important for our extension system. So this is I just wanted to brief you about this. And then actually we are also seeing online system nowadays in the marketing field. Actually we are talking about eNAM, okay, so, and then we are also talking about different platforms of actually marketing. And that is how actually the scenario is changing over a period of time. And we also need to understand that whenever we are talking about reorienting our extension education system, there are many aspects. I'm just moving out from that online education topic because I'm not. I'm sure actually majority of things will be covered by other speakers also. But I just would like to say that because even my topic is all talking about the reorienting our extension priorities, because we know that there are good number of other agencies actually in India who are delivering these extension activities or extension services. So that may be with regards to Directorate of Extension, then we have Department of Animal Husbandry and Dairying, then we have Department of Fisheries, we have ICR institutes, we have state agriculture and veterinary universities, then we have actually the major credit is for the Krishi Vigyan Kendras who are actually delivering good extension scenarios, and they're actually all delivering extension activities. Then we have, apart from this, we also have a good number of NGOs who are dealing with this delivery. And then we have different cooperative federations who are taking care of this. We have private sectors. And another important thing is, even during my PhD work, actually, I could notice that actually agri input dealers actually are the major extension service delivery agencies, because, but many other times they are not counted upon actually, but still they act as a good extension delivery system mechanisms. And that is why actually we need to see that apart from this, the most important thing is the state departments, because as we say, agriculture or animal husbandry is a state subject, and that is why actually we have to understand that majority of the states have got their own departments, and actually they are able to deliver these activities. Like they have Department of Agriculture, Animal Husbandry, Horticulture, Fisheries, and we have officers basically in these agriculture department, and they are looking after the extension activities, and they are also looking after extension related activities. And that is all active. And but we, in that case, we also see that they are also nowadays taking help of different online tools, because as pointed out by Dr. Hema Tripathi yesterday, we know that actually we have very less number of our extension scientists, and we have to use these different mass media tools or actually social media tools in order to reach more number of farmers. This can actually reduce the human resource requirement, and that is why actually we can do this. And then why are we actually talking about reorienting our extension system? Because we know that actually yesterday we had a good talk by Dr. Rashid Suleiman talking about the global scenario, but today we are doing this because we have many issues and many different job charts with us, because we know that we as an extension person have to do different jobs. So it is, apart from delivering extension and advisory services, we are also supposed to do different managing the schemes, managing the programs, managing the farmers, managing the higher officers. So there are many things with us, and that is why actually we have to see that we can do all this. And that is why actually people are talking about these online medias, online tools, because if I have a meeting tomorrow, I can just put a message in our WhatsApp group and just say that I have a meeting tomorrow, we have a meeting, and let us all attend the meeting. But this was not the scenario because like previously, and that is why actually we have to somehow understand that this is an important scenario, and that is why actually we need to talk about important, like reorienting our priorities. And we also need to talk about conserving our natural resources. We also need to talk about the shift in approaches, because we have to move from face-to-face approach to the other online approaches. And then we are also talking about different supply chain management. And then we have, these are all different scenarios. And we also know that ultimately online is actually being used in research, extension, education, marketing, agro processing, even the farm management, and many other different areas. And that is why actually this is an important component for all of us. But in this way, we also need to understand that online education system is ultimately dealing with the capacity building of our farmers, of our government agencies, of our different professionals. See, this improving the capacity building is or the training program what we have now is actually a best example of improving our actually this is a way of improving our capacity building activities, because we know online activities are being done, and we are actually talking about the professional things. And nowadays we are also seeing that good number of universities or good number of kvks are even organizing online based training programs. And although we understand that we cannot reach all the farmers, but instead of sitting quiet, I think this is one way of connecting with the farmers. I'm sure actually most of I just saw a message, because we know that most of our farmers from the rural background, and we cannot reach all of them. But I just feel that instead of sitting quiet during saying that actually it's a COVID restrictions we have, but at least we are able to reach some of the farmers, because you are able to reach the farmers through SMS, you are able to reach the farmers through WhatsApp groups, you are able to reach the farmers through different audio clippings. And that is actually a way of reaching the farmers. And because nowadays face to face has become a little bit difficult scenario, and that is why actually we are able to address most of these issues. And nowadays we are also seeing lot many diploma holders coming up. We have agriculture diploma holders, we have animal husbandry diploma holders, and they are all able to actually join hands with the extension professionals, because they ultimately will help us in one or the other way, so that we can ultimately reach more number of farmers. And that is the requirement for all of us. And we also should see that how can we connect the farmers with our system, because this is now, because we should understand that COVID is going to be a part and parcel of our life. And I'm sure actually most of us might have seen you or your relatives or actually somebody who has got these issues with this, and but they are able to they have come out of these COVID-19 problems. But now this is going to be important point with regards to the online system. Okay, now I am also seeing some help given by some of the participants with regards to social media. I already spoke about social media, I already spoke about the Facebook, WhatsApp, and different media. But end of the day, we should also see that our professionals actually have got a good skill, because ultimately when we have a good skill as a professional, then actually I think we can really put up these ideas to our farmers, because we visit lot many farms, we visit lot many farmers, but having good clips about a good video about a good farmer, actually see if he has grown a good agriculture practices, and if he is following good agriculture practices, good harvesting practices, if he has got good mechanization, and if you see a good dairy farmer, good goat farmer, we can ultimately take those clips and take help of those situations and try to develop some good clips and share with other farmers, because that way we can even try to have some of the clips so that other farmers can see and try to understand those things. I'm sure actually majority of the universities are nowadays working on these types of YouTube based videos, these types of smaller clips, because we can even share one or two clips actually which are being focusing on important aspects of agriculture or actually animal husbandry practices. And then end of the day, why we are talking about this is the ultimately the specialists should have to improve themselves. Actually, they have to develop their own skills or competencies, so that we people can really educate our farmers accordingly. And then we are also seeing nowadays that most of the farmers are able to get the information through videos, through social media, and through different forums. And apart from this, we are also able to see that lot many farmers getting into the concepts of trainings. And that's what I was telling. Even recently our university has also started organizing these types of online training programs for the farmers. So it is very difficult for the farmers to engage them from morning to evening, but we should see that we don't require all the farmers from morning to evening, but at least having the class for 1 hour in the morning and 1 hour in the evening, that is almost good timings. Because in online mode we cannot keep the farmers, or we cannot keep the participants engaged for such a long period of time. And that is why actually it is important that we try to engage them for a very specific period of time. And it is the same case with the officers also, same case with the professionals like you. We cannot keep you engaged for the whole day. And that is actually the advantages we have with regards to the online systems. And then we have actually lot many other issues like I was talking about the knowledge and skills of the skills of the extensionists, because nowadays we need to know actually about different tools. About like whenever you are organizing a meeting, people will ask the first question, which platform you are organizing. Like we have Google Meet, we have WebEx, we have Zoom, so we have actually different platforms. So uh, maybe just before COVID-19, maybe last year, we were not at all aware about all these types of platforms. So most probably we were just aware about Google Duo, where actually we were able to talk about this. But nowadays, actually, we have got so many platforms, and actually we are able to address the farmers' issues and address actually different. We have got many discussion forums, and nowadays we have seen that people are actually getting comfortable with these online tools, so that they can really save a lot of human resource, lot of time, lot of budget for the university or budget for the system as a whole. And that is actually ultimately developing these, having a good skills in this area is very much important. Like nowadays people are talking about the Facebook groups, and even the institutes are actually having their own groups. Like KVKs have developed their own Facebook accounts, they are actually having their own Twitter accounts. They are all supporting our ICT systems, and they're all supporting the digital systems. And this is what I would like to say. I think we are almost having some time with this, but still, since he could not join, I think we will have to take one or two questions. If we have any general questions, may not be so specific with ICT, because ICT, he was the expert, or actually there are some more experts coming up. But if you have any other general discussions, I'll be taking actually one or two questions or one or two suggestions from your end. Participants, any one or two questions or anything you want to share? Let us try to understand that even this is a new experience for all of us. New experience for all of us, and we ourselves actually we are doing this training for first time. Although NADCL is a very good team, and they have actually experience in organizing this program, and these networks and all these things are may not be exactly in our hands, but somehow we have to go with this. These are actually some of the lacunae even we should understand with the online media. Although I have tried calling him some 3-4 times, but he is not responding, I do not know. And there are good number of suggestions coming up with the social media, good number of research which has come up from social media side, and good number of papers, good number of books, and people have written lot many things. And anyways, we have another very good speaker, Dr. Sarvanan Raj. You might have heard about him. So he's a deputy director. He's a deputy director at director at Manage Hyderabad, and he was previously in Northeast India, and he has written very good books also about ICT. And he will be again talking about digital media very soon in your schedule. And maybe for the time being, we somehow have to will let us Majid sir.
Yes, yes.
Shall we?
Yeah, going through what you discussed, I have one suggestion regarding this. Since
Yeah.
we are discussing ICT,
Yeah.
one suggestion that I would recommend is there is a principle called as intuitive design.
Okay.
Intuitive design, when it comes to, like, we're dealing with farmers, we're dealing with people who may not be well versed with the all the facets of technology. Although technology are being promoted everywhere, but still there needs to be impetus on the fact that there should be intuitive design. What I mean by that is intuitive design, it should follow the intuition. And what happens by that is the learning curve of learning a technology gets dropped by a significant amount. So people wouldn't have to learn technology. There wouldn't be a learning curve. Just it would follow their intuition. And this is a design philosophy I would recommend. There are people here who would want to have this input from my side. There are design that sir has joined. I think the sir faculty, our resource person has joined. Hello.
Sir, welcome, sir.
Can you unmute? Can you unmute?
Yeah, I don't know where I lost this one. Is it this one I seen now? You have seen?
Start the slideshow, sir.
Yeah, just a minute. So this I explained, right? Hello, are you able to see my slide?
Yes, yes. Participants, why did it stop?
I think I have explained this one. Are you able? Did you listen? Or repeat?
Sir, I
Vidwan's
we were seeing that Vidwan website.
Vidwan app, sir.
Vidwan website.
Vidwan
We should
video.
start from that after that.
Oh. So since then you are not able to listen?
No. We have been trying to reach you on call, but you couldn't.
Oh, I'm very sorry. Extremely
Sir.
sorry.
Sir, Tamiraju sir.
Yeah.
Sir, actually, we saw that video related to Vidwan, sir. And then actually, you got disconnected.
I see. Okay.
And I tried calling you also 2-3 times.
Yeah, I did not lift the phone generally because class is going on. No, that's the reason.
Okay.
So-
And again, I called Bharat sir also.
Oh, someone came. I was very extremely sorry. What to do now?
No, actually, sir, you can just quickly go through the slides, sir.
Yeah, I'll take 10-15 minutes and then close it. Fine. Is it fine?
Please, sir. Okay, sir. Okay.
I'm really sorry.
Yeah, no problem, sir.
Yeah, you called me and someone came to me also. I thought I did not really. Sorry for that.
Yeah, it's okay,
Fine.
sir.
Yeah. Actually, what I'm trying to say is, so this is where you have stopped, right?
You have to start after the video, sir.
That's what. This is the Vidwan. Yeah, I'll share it. Yeah. So this is what I have done, right? Okay. Is it fine? Hello?
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
Yeah,
sir.
fine. So what I'm trying to say is this is the different websites, different portals available for agriculture education. And the last one is Agri Diksha, which is recently developed by ICR. All students can log into that, and even faculty also can contribute for the courses, right? That is one thing. And another thing is the students also can get the access to the courses, right? This is about Agri Diksha website. Likewise, the WikiVet is also there for exclusively veterinarian, and those veterinarians can get registered in this one, and then go through all those the different subjects, the latest updates on the clinical side and other paraclinical sides. So that is going to help, right? And these are all some of the online platforms. So I'll be sharing this PPT. Probably you can understand better. Am I audible? Hello?
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
Yes,
Yes,
sir.
sir.
Yes,
That's what the challenge of online education is, this one. Okay, fine. Under National Agriculture Higher Education Project also, we have developed some of the important websites or portals.
Yes,
For
sir.
example, the first one is KVC AllNet. This is the alumni network where students can register and get connected with other universities also. And accreditation system for higher educational institutions. This is for exclusively for the universities where they can use this accreditation process. And this is another academic management system, which is like what you call the management of entire academics of the university. Both students and faculty can be part of it and try to learn over this one. That is academic management system. And e-learning, probably you are all aware, these are all the different courses developed, and universities all developed, and this content is really available at the ICR website, and you can download. This is the initiation taken by the norm earlier. And I'm trying to emphasize that e-learning is going to impact the learning, and it is going to improve the learning also, education also. By looking at the, for example, class average marks, e-learning is 72.3 marks, and non-e-learning is 52.4. And here it is 61.55. So that means we can say definitely e-learning is going to improve the performance of the students also. And this is the portal recently developed by IASR. We're also party to this, where shortly we'll have all what you call the video lessons of UG, PG, and PhD. And faculty who are interested can participate in the content development, and the students also can look at this after some time for the videos of different subjects of your own domain like UG, PG, PhD. And I'm talking about the massive open online courses. These are all a new arena where nowadays many courses are happening, and free and creditless being offered by the different universities like Stanford University, Harvard University, and many players are there. And in India also we have started providing the courses, and they are open to anyone with internet connection. And very large number of people can participate. And these are all the different platforms like Canvas, Coursera, edX, Google Course Builder, Khan Academy, Audacity, and those things, right? And these are the platforms in India. The Swayam is there, Manage is giving courses, ICRISAT is there, AgMOOCs by IIT Kanpur and COL, and these are all the different platforms. And I just showed this our own NARAM e-learning platform, how interaction takes place and how the things happen over this particular platform. And our process is given the copyright also. And am I audible?
Yes, sir.
Yeah. Now I have to cross check every now and then. Okay, fine. So the expectations of the MOOC is, these are all the advantages or expectations, whatever you say: convenience of learning, flexible learning, improved quality of resources, learning from peers and others, strengthening of network, enrichment in the knowledge, favorable attitude, enhancement of teaching skills, and so on and so forth. So these are all our reach also I just presented here. And over a period of time, from 2015 to now, there is a gradual increase in the numbers from 1006 to 2773 numbers. So that means slowly demand is increasing. What I'm trying to say is I'm trying to impress all of you to go use these platforms either for offering the courses for the farmers or the students or whoever it may be, or even you can learn also. So the learning analytics also we try to analyze, and the watching videos is one of the important area methodology. And then another thing is reading course material. And then coming to the motivational factors, the courses are relevant to their present job and the personal interest also. So these are the couple of factors also. What I'm saying is, kindly look into these factors when you are designing a new course. Probably that will add value and more what we call the completion rates. In general, the completion rates are about 10%. But in our experience, because we targeted teaching competency, more than 50% completion rates are there. That means that the need is there for the teaching competence enhancement. That is the reason many people, especially the young assistant professors, PG and PhD students, many people are there. So that is how we can look into the needs of the people. The other thing is, for example, in this case, we try to study the effect of change also. About 50% of 31 to 40 years of age group are more benefited from the MOOC courses, and to the extent of 60% by about 36% are gained benefit. So this is one statistic where you can really appreciate the extent of change through MOOC. And we have taken the feedback also, the accessibility, asynchronous learning, convenience, cost effectiveness, all those things are there. And these are the benefits of any online courses. Of course, at the same time, there are certain lacunae are also there. But as a capacity building tool, as a training tool, we use this MOOC, and the key learnings are the knowledge acquisition is there, social engagement of the learners, cross-learning, professional efficiency, collaborative social networking. And there are now slowly learners are changing in their perception. Even the faculty also, they are changing. Coming to the challenges, the credentials of the online learners is one important issue. I really don't know who are my learners in online. What is their background? I don't know. What are their qualifications? Really, I don't know. So if we know all those things, probably that will give you more of, insights of the requirements, and then accordingly we can plan our sessions or the classes or the program itself. Coming to the week assessment, development of specific and well-defined rubrics. Because in online education, really this is a biggest weak link in assessing the students, even the trainees also. That's what we are trying differently, and but still we cannot say that we are really successful, but the challenges still exists. And the faculty preparedness, all are not really prepared to take online classes. Probably they need to be trained, and there need to be change in the attitude and the skill sets also. It's not really worth going for online when high order practical competencies are there. And unfulfilled role of learners as co-creators of knowledge and co-assessors of knowledge, that is another thing. And the motivation. That motivation is the biggest challenge in retaining the learners in online classes. If you take, for example, any online course also, any training program also, retention is the biggest challenge. Always you will have, the rates are very less when compared to the other programs. And I was talking about the COVID impact and the agriculture education, and how to adapt ourselves to the situation, especially in education. Is it fine? I'm audible?
Yes, sir.
sir, it is clear.
Yes, sir, you're audible.
Clear.
Thank you. So coming to actually we have done a study on this COVID impact, especially with reference to agriculture education. I'll share the document also. So agriculture education is a diversified, contextual, location-specific, experimental, that all you know very well. Apart from other sectors, this COVID-19 challenged the education also. They have created lots of stress, and not only stress, physical well-being, academic calendars are disrupted. Several things happened. I'll share that slide also. So this situation created additional stress on the institutions, students, and their families also. Earlier it was not there, and the institutions were not prepared for that. Students were not prepared for that. Even the families were worried about the health of all the family members, including their children and all those things. And there are inherent challenges in education. And this is, since it is a contextual, field-oriented, practical in nature, and we cannot really take all the classes online also. And the preparedness is a big challenge with reference to the faculty, students, and institution. And sudden shift from in-person to online, it's really a task, and it's not really planned well. In fact, online teaching is a separate didactic. In fact, it's not like your regular, this thing, regular type of class or online training or whatever it may be. This not many changes now. In fact, I am only the living example, handling the situation. I think this is the first time ever happened in my last 1 year when I'm taking these classes. I completely lost my network, and I could not realize that. Rather, I'm really sorry for that. But thing is, it is creating pressure on the teachers to become digital experts. Are we digitally, competent? That's really a question. And is it effective for all subjects? And the students' part also, it is really affordability is an issue. And the teachers, how equipped they are. Many teachers are not trained because, for example, there are several features are available even in your Zoom or Google Meet or MS Teams and all those things to create sort of an engagement. That is really missing in our online classes. And the research is worst affected, of course. So based on this situation, we have done a study on what is the impact of pandemic on agriculture education. And because we have to reimagine higher agriculture education in India on the face of challenges from COVID-19. That is the crux for us, and we have taken 1,132 students from 51 SAUs and 164 offices of 61 SAUs. And we assess the impact on terms of course delivery, building professional competencies, and physical and psychological well-being. Of course, they're all important, but critical thing is psychological health. the students are depressed and lost motivation, boredom, cocooning, anxiety levels are increased. In fact, we also under anxiety, and students do well. So this is the one of the critical area where we are to really require to focus more on what you call the psychological health. And that is my humble request all the faculty to look into this one and see, provide the counseling to our student community so that they can come out of those things, because not many depressions are there, like what you call your placement activities are reflected, disrupted, career development affected, academic calendar affected, and then there is no in-person mentoring counseling, and so many things are happening. And it is more so in the terms of PG and PhD students. And we wanted to see, is there any change over a period of time? And we have done a similar study with the same students, and after 5 months. And an alarming note is that there is a rise in the psychological aspects. Attitude levels are changing, frustration levels are increasing, anxiety is increasing, depression, uncertainty, desire, and cocooning and boredom. These are all the different parameters of psychological well-being are on the rise. So this is a really serious concern. On the other side, of course, they have started adapting themselves to the new situation and started using all those e-resources. And slowly there is a shift, positive shift is there with reference to educational activities when delivered through online and e-learning modes. These are all things that are happening. Coming to the changes and with reference to online instructions, maybe now the same situation still persists, maybe after 1 year also. So with reference to the instructors, they have broken the traditional silos of teaching, in person, in classroom situation, face to face. They came out of the silos and started teaching online. They are preparing the PPTs and they're slowly changing the attitude and the skills also. Of course, maybe the reluctance in some cases. And they are adapting to the online classes. They started using the e-resources. They're starting using the PPTs and that sort of things. But the greatest challenge is the engagement. Adequate engagement is really a concern. And online engagement tools are available. For example, Mentimeter is there. I don't know whether you are using it, but I still, every time I use it. And it is free also. At least 3 questions can be put to all the students, and it's like a poll. Of course, the polls are integrated into our other learning management systems also, but this is one tool. Likewise, you can use those tools for more engagement. And handling of UG courses is a tough challenge. And examination systems, there are different patterns. Every university, they are having different own system of examining the students. But whatever it may be, the psychological aspect is very, very important that we have to take consideration. So now you look at this. Are you able to see my slide here? Hello?
Yes, sir. It's visible. It's clear.
Yeah.
Students' engagement.
Yeah. So here, the picture is the top one is what we always see. Audio mute, video mute, and even sometimes even faculty also muting their videos. That is another big problem. So if that is the case, how to bring in the engagement? I want to have this sort of picture, the downside picture, where really everyone put on their videos and start engaging, start interacting. That sort of situation only will help to make learning very effective. And another important area is the tenacity of the students for continuous listening online. Hours together, how to listen for looking at a computer, blank screen, and without no social learning, nothing is there, and how to make it. That is the big challenge. But whatever it may be, we need to have a sort of a blended learning and hybrid approach where we can have both integrate some sort of a practical to some extent, and the theory, online theory, group work, and there are several means are evolving how to make people engaged. But the advantage is we can really capitalize the virtual talent. Somewhere, faculty in Texas A&M University or say Cornell University, they can be requested to talk to your students and orient, or even the faculty also. We have been trying and we are doing also. So that's how this particular situation has created a positive environment in making or getting the virtual talent, apart from other issues. In this perspective, there is a need for the faculty to change in some of those aspects like pedagogical aspects, social aspects, managerial aspects, and technical competencies. I don't know how many of us are really competent in using these online tools or platforms effectively. And what is the support in terms of digital infrastructure? That is also an issue here to be understood. At the same time, we need to re-examine the curriculum pedagogy assessment and the content and instructional strategies. And there is a need for balancing the synchronous and asynchronous learning. Synchronous learning is like what I am doing now, that is online live sessions. Asynchronous is something like a MOOC where you can go through the the recorded videos and all. So finally, whatever may be the content, whatever may be the the learners, whoever may be the learners, this is the entire online learning environment, education environment revolve around these four important things. The learners, what are their expectations? What is their readiness to take on online classes? What are their learning styles and how to improvise, integrate the learning styles in our teaching? Technical skills, how best they are able to adapt to the new technologies in terms of handling your online platforms, assignment submission, evaluation, all those sort of things. And what is the identity of a student? I don't know. Isolation, the students are working in isolation. And participation, these are all the learners' perspectives we have to give consideration. Coming to the instructors, are we ready to change our roles in the new paradigm shift? Transition to the online. The communication barrier sometimes is a challenge. Many people may be good in person online communication rather than online communication. How to modulate, how to improvise, how to bring in the different parameters of your communication skills. What about the non-verbal communication? Those are all the issues. Instructors' interest in using the online. What is the attitude of the teacher in using these things? What is the level of preparation for the suiting to the online environment, and time management and teaching skills? These are all, really to be considered. Content, development of the content suiting to the online education, delivery via multimedia, instructional strategies, considerations, and assignments. What sort of assignments you can give, how you are going to assess those things, what is the feedback of those things. These are all the different perspectives, different factors to be considered when you are really contemplating to offer an online course or trying to teach the students or the farmers or the entrepreneurs who are it may be online. At the same time, we should also have the institutional support also, whether they are providing any institutional institutions are providing any professional developmental programs or student trainings or the technical and multimedia support in terms of labs, infrastructure, technical competencies, and that sort of things. So in nutshell, the entire online education environment is really a new paradigm shift, and we have to innovate and adapt, and at the same time we have to focus on four important things, like that is the learners, instructors, the content, and the institutional support. So once you consider all those things, probably we can do well in imparting the online education to our learners and contribute for the great learning. So this is what I thought of sharing. Yeah, Is it fine?
You're audible, sir.
Yeah, that's what I thought of sharing with you. I'm doing one thing. I developed an online tool also. We call to capture your reflections. I just put it in the chat box, right? So you can click on and fill. couple of questions are there. So I used to take what you call the reflections of the training, generally in any class. And this is one way of demonstrating the online tools, the impact of online tools. So kindly do it. And meanwhile, you can put the questions also, any questions and queries. Yes, please.
If there are any questions from the participants, please ask right now. There are few in the chat. Apart from Sarah, which other educational and research sites are accessible through industrial networks like YouTube? Institutional networks.
I think Vidwan, Mega Dhoni raised. I don't know whether it is exclusively for the what we call faculty or the researchers, where you can really enroll yourself and even put up all your biodata there, also your research papers, projects, and everything. In fact, if you look at my tagline in the signature also, I keep my ID of Vidwan. So anybody is interested to look at this thing, if I send a mail, you can see the link also, my Vidwan link. So that's how we can integrate. And if you are really interested to know who is working in some area, probably you can search and get in touch with those people. That's how you can do it. I think Sarah, only the network, I don't think it is accessible from the private network. That's what. Apart from Sarah, which education research sites are accessible only through institutional networks like universities? All others are, I think you can use, for example, this academic management system, AluNet, all your Agri, Diksha portals, all can be, definitely you can access it. That's not a problem. How about practical exposure via online mode of extension methods? Actually, Indresh Gowda, what I'm trying to in my, I take classes for postgraduate students on communication skills and social media, that sort of thing. What I do, I just do teach for about half an hour, 40 minutes. I make groups through what you call your Zoom, make breakout groups and give the case to them, and then they'll go through it, and I'll ask them to present, and then I'll provide a feedback also. They have to fill the feedback through Google form. And in the process, I assign every student one role. One is a content manager, one is observer, one is a commentator. Likewise, I give roles also, so that the students will have the roles. They have to present, they have to give the feedback, the Google form, and also they have to present whatever the cases they have run. So this is all nothing like fixed ideas, but all depends on how innovative you are and how best you can use it. That's what you can do, and that is the reason generally. That's why I asked Rathod in between also. What I do I stop and try to interact, so that you will also feel lively. Otherwise, it becomes monotonous. You continuously looking at the screen also sometimes challenge. So my suggestion is you can try out different features are there. The crux of entire success of your lesson is what you call your engagement. That's what I feel. Yeah, Manjunath raised. Yeah, Manjunath. Manjunath, you have any question? Okay, fine. I think some more things are there in the chat. Yeah. How does the absence of learning environment in online extension mode can affect the effectiveness of extension teaching learning process? How does the absence of learning environment? Yeah, that's what here it is not the question per se, it is absence of learning environment. We have to modify the environment suited to the online. Every component element is there in the entire learning environment. Your teacher is there, your content is there, your instructor, everything is there. But the only thing is how to modulate your content, what's content is suitable to the online learning. That is what the role of making this teaching learning process effective. How online extension teaching methods can be helpful to those who are residing in the area or lack of networking facility. Of course, that is the reason network is always a challenge. That is the biggest constraint. But thing is, there are two options are there. That is the reason synchronous and asynchronous learning. Synchronous learning is live like this. Asynchronous is that videos are available. Many players are there. So probably we need to use those sources whenever when you are free and access is there. Probably that is one solution. Of course, I don't have the exact answer. But now many universities are coming under NKN network. Of course, rural areas is still a challenge. I do agree with that. Yeah. For SMS working in the KVK system, any sessions of instruction to take up OFT FLEs with respect to different tools for extension to make an outcome. I don't really understand this question. For SMS working in KVK system, any sessions of instructions. Is it meant to say online? Jairaj?
Yeah. Good afternoon, sir.
Yeah, good afternoon. Yeah.
So actually, in KVK systems, while proposing OFTs or FLDs, very difficult to identify OFTs and FLDs for extension scientists, because as far as other scientists concerned, there are so many programs for varietal evaluation or technology evaluation. Similarly, actually the social engineering tools, how they influence the farming community, evaluating different tools of technology deliverance, that is actually missing in the extension system, and we simply concentrating on the varieties or technologies or nutrients or method of application, those things. But actually what is lacking is that how we are going to organize the farming community is an extension tool. Is there any such evidences in any of the KVK systems for supporting the extension scientists, and that is actually creating results in actual field apart from the varieties or evaluation? So
Yeah,
how we are going to address those things?
Yeah, of course, I do understand. The biggest lacuna in extension system is we are only more worried about organization of extension activities rather than extension research.
Yeah.
In KVKs also, we are all more involved in organizing the training programs and all those things, and more of activity oriented rather than research oriented. Because there is a need for shift, and that's what our people are also working how to make extension research more visible also. For example, impact training, so impact assessment is there. There we are not really doing any impact, what you call structured format or as a project. Probably apart from these things, we need to focus more on what you call this research. Extension research is very seriously lacking. That, in fact, I'm also an extension person. I do work for a couple of months in the KVK, but the problem is the same thing. We are burdened with all those training programs and other OLD, FLD, and all those things. But what my suggestion is, when anyhow we cannot escape those activities, but still, if you are able to integrate some of the research into those things, probably we can have more visibility. The research is to be given importance, especially in KVKs, extension research. That's what I.
Thank you, sir. Thank you.
Yeah, any other point? Of course, sorry, I'm extremely sorry. This is the first time I'm really feeling embarrassed because of loss of connection and all. I really don't know. Okay, fine. This is the experience for me also.
Thank you, sir. On behalf of all the participants and organizing committee.
Just a minute. I think I'll share these two documents in the chat box. Those who are interested can go through. If you
Sure, no problem.
Yeah. These are the two important studies which we have done. Someone can download, and I'll share the PPT to Dr. Rathod after some time. Is it fine? Prakash.
Yes, sir.
I'll share the PPT after some time.
Sure, sir.
Participant can download these two resource material if you are really interested. Yeah.
Sure, sir.
Right. So if I request you to fill that tool, reflections tool, let us see how best we can improvise the next time. Right? Thank you very much. If
Yes,
you have no
sir.
questions,
Dr. Prakash, can you present the vote of thanks?
Yeah. So, on behalf of all the participants and our organizers, I would like to thank Dr. Tamiraju sir for his sharing his valuable experiences, mostly with online education system. In fact, there are many limitations, but still, we should also see that due to COVID-19 situations, and there are many advantages what we have. And looking in all these considerations, we should, in fact, without neglecting the farmers, because nowadays we are bringing out farmers also on the online platform. So it was really a very good lecture for all of us, and I'm seeing good number of comments actually in the chat box appreciating sir's lecture. And thank you very much, sir, for giving your valuable time. So it was really a great lecture for all of us. And thank you all the participants for being a part of this class. And let us meet again at 2:30 for the afternoon class. Thank you all.
thank you, all the best to all of you. Thank you very much.
Thank you, sir.